This is going to be my personal Apex Legends tier list. Personal, opinionated Apex Legends tier list, okay? My opinion on where everybody goes. We're going to start bottom to top, okay? Bottom, Rampart. Do I need to explain why she's there? Giving her shield 45 more, 45 more health isn't going to do anything. She's very, very situational. She's very niche. I like her as a person. I like her character and her personality and stuff, but she does not fit into almost any team. I do not think she's very good, and I really don't know what they could do to change her because her kit is very bad. Maybe with gold mags and LMGs next season, she might be good, but right now, she isn't. Next up is Octane. Octane belongs in D tier as well to me. He doesn't provide anything to a team aside from a jump pad. He is a fragger. I'm not opposed to having fraggers. I'm not opposed at all. But he doesn't provide anything other than a jump pad, which does not do a whole lot. People like Horizon, they have more versatility in terms of verticality and stuff. Like her and Pathfinder both provide more than Octane does. He just has a little bit more speed. Next is going to be C tier, Loba. The only reason she's in C tier is because of her ult. And the fact that you can take as much ammo as you want out of her ult. That is fucking awesome, first off. That's awesome. But that's really about it. Her Q, very lackluster. It takes too long because you're basically useless while you're throwing it. You're doing this, and then you go, and then you land, and then she has to put it back on. Usually by the time you get it back on, if you put it in the wrong spot, you're going to get beamed. She doesn't really provide much to the team other than her ult, which her ult does come in clutch every once in a while, and that's why she's not in D tier. The next C tier we're going to talk about is Mirage. I think if they changed Mirage, even just a little bit, just like made his ult different, once you figure out all his tricks and his bamboozles, he gets stale. Like, you figure out how to play against him. Even really good Mirage players, you can still figure out how to play against him. The only reason he's in C tier is because his passive, which allows you to res invisible. That's the only reason he's there. Is because, yes, you do go full invisible while you res, and I think that's cool. But that's about it. He doesn't really provide anything else. Now, the next two are two of the people I play a lot, and I really do enjoy them. First being Caustic. I don't mind Caustic. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's good. That's why he's in B. It's average tier. He's not terrible. His traps can usually be easily spotted unless you're really good Caustic and you put them in the correct places. Other than that, I think they're really easily kind of countered. His ult is pretty good just because you can throw it. You can put it anywhere. But once people get out of it, as long as they don't play in it, you kind of don't do anything except be a big body. Now, if you get to the final circle, that's a different story. If you're in King's Canyon, the man's S tier. But I think he needs a little bit of almost setup to be good. And he's not really situational, but you have to be in the correct situation for him to be utilized properly. That being said, we're talking about the next B tier, which is Revenant. I love Revenant. Revenant is one of my favorite characters in the game. But he's lacking something. His passive kind of gets negated by Horizon. Horizon can go a lot higher than him on a much shorter cooldown. Granted, his is a passive. He can use it whenever, but he can only climb 2 stories. She can go up the entire length of a building if she wants to. So that kind of feels really lackluster. His ult isn't bad. It's really good for rev pushing if you want to be aggressive, but you don't want to get caught out. But if somebody else manages to stumble upon that, you're just going to get rolled. And his silence is actually in a good place. 20-second silence, 10 damage, that's fine. But he's missing something to bring him to any other tier. That being said, we're going to talk about A tier now. Because this is all I think for the bottom characters. I don't think they need a little bit of something to bring him back up to power. I know a lot of people would probably put like Bangalore here, but I think Bangalore's here. I've been playing Bang a lot on stream. I like the fact that you can utilize her smokes for aggressive and for passive. You're like, oh, we need to push away. You can smoke in front of yourself, run through it, and usually reposition. Or you can smoke the enemy team, get them to reposition. I like that. I think she's really cool. I think she's in a really good, she's not in a bad place. Her ult's one of the best zoning ults in the game. I think her passive is a little bit lacking. That's why she's not S tier. Her passive only kicks in when you're running. So unless you have an idea of where you want to go, or you're retreating, or you want to push. But it's the same speed as Octane. It just, you can't trigger it. That's the only downside. Other than that, I like where she's at. Her passive was a little bit different. She'd probably be up in S tier. The next A tier for me, Lifeline. Lifeline could be down because people don't like her ult. I think her drone res is disgusting. People go, it's easily countered. Yes, but what you don't realize is she can res somebody and not have to waste the motion of resing them. She can tap them and proceed to fight like nothing is happening, and utilize the shield during the fight. I think that's awesome. That is incredible. That makes her instant A tier. The Q healing is just an added bonus. It's very nice, so you don't have to waste stims, or if you don't have stims. Her ult needs to be changed a little bit, because her ult basically is a big beacon that does absolutely nothing now. I don't know what they could do. Maybe give her a team-wide stim, like a team-wide dot Q for like half your HP. Or give her a buff where she pops it and you all get 25 bonus health. And you can do that before going into fight, almost like a Lucio ult. I think that would be cool for her ult. And just remove her care package, because it's lackluster. And then we have Pathy. I love Pathfinder. Pathfinder's mobility is damn near unmatched. His Q, I want to go back to playing him because I played him for a challenge, and my God, getting around with that Q and being able to position on somebody like that is just so nasty. The only reason he's not S tier is because his passive just gives him a lower zipline cooldown. His passive used to be really good because he was the only one that could interact and find where the circle was, but now you have Crypto and Bloodhound who can both do the same thing. So it's kind of lame. His zipline is almost unmatched in terms of mobility because you can just move your whole team into a place that you normally can't get to. I think Pathy's incredible. I think if his passive was a little different, he'd be S tier. I don't know what they could make his passive, but, I really like Pathy. Next A tier is probably going to be a little bit controversial. I'm putting Wattson in A tier, above Caustic. I think in terms of locking down an area, these two compete. And I think Wattson does it better. Because even if you touch her Q and you're ready to play for it like you would be if you're playing Caustic, you're slowed and you can barely turn. All she has to do is walk to your left and you're not going to be able to keep up with her. And she can just laser you. Her ult stops projectiles and heals you at the same time. And her passive refills that ult instantly if you use an ult accelerant. I don't know what they could do to change her. I think she's in a really good spot. I think she belongs in A tier. I like where she's at. I personally like Wattson, but she doesn't fit my playstyle. I'm aggro. She's not. Now you can see who's in S tier. All of these people, right? We're going to talk about Bluthhunder first. I love Bloodhound. Bloodhound's Q, disgusting. Paired with Bangalore, these two together, instant S tier. That's one of the most disgusting duos in the game. Along with the ult and the passive of being able to track where people were, where they're going. You can tell if an area's been looted in the last minute. You can tell how far people are from you. I really enjoy Bloodhound's kit, and that's why Bloodhound is an S tier, because Bloodhound is just that, a Bloodhound, and one of the best characters in the game, and one of the most played. Talking about Bloodhound, we're going to put Crypto up there too. These two people, I wouldn't say they're exactly the same. They promote two very different play styles. Crypto is a more passive Bloodhound. Crypto, people were going to say, he doesn't belong in S tier, it's all around his drone. I get that. But a good Crypto won't let his drone die. He will use it for a quick scout, or he'll fly it in, EMP somebody, boom. Now they're losing 50 shield, and they're just fucked. So if you're playing with a Bloodhound, and everybody's running in together, you pop that at the right time, and you coordinate, you're shredding through a team. The fact that he can instantly do banners and reses, and do the zone circle thing, dude. Survey towers, amazing. That's why he's an S tier. He is one of the best slow playing characters in the game, and he is disgusting. Gibby, we all know why Gibby's broken. No bleed through on his shield. Maybe when they give him bleed through, I still think he'll be S tier. a 5-second res instead of a 7 in his bubble with an impenetrable bubble shield and one of the best res animations in the game. He's strong. His ult kind of a little bit, but it's good for zoning, but it's a lot smaller than Bangalore's, and it does a lot. I think it does a lot more damage too. But I think Gibby is a little too strong. Once they remove the shield, because if you're hitting somebody with a white shield, which is what that's supposed to be, you can still hit their flesh because it'll crack them and then do 12 damage. That's what it should do to a shield. It shouldn't just negate the last bullet. Because if it has 1 damage left, it'll negate an entire 20 damage hemlock shot. Once they do that, I still think he'll be S tier. Unless they change him entirely. Horizon. She has taken the throne as the highest win rate above Wraith, I'm pretty sure. And for good reason. Her ult is disgusting. One of the best ults in the game right now. That black hole, that thing is terrifying if you don't run away from it. If you get stuck in it, you're going to get nade spammed and you're just going to get fucking wrecked. Her ult with her Q, or her passive with her Q, not doing this when you land, like going, and then having to regather yourself. She just lands and keeps shooting. Broken. They're going to have to put a longer cooldown on her Q or make it die faster because she needs some sort of nerf. I don't know what they're going to do with her yet. But I think she's a little too powerful where she currently stands. And she's an S tier for good reason. We all know who Wraith is. The poster girl of Apex. That's why she's an S tier, because she's still one of the best legends in the game. Her passive, people complain about it because it's too slow. I'm getting shot up. I already got beamed by a Kraber. Sniper's aiming at me. Well, that kind of sucks. You kind of got outpositioned or something like that. Or just didn't activate fast enough. Or they shot at you the moment they aimed at you because they noticed you were a Wraith. When it does work, your entire team can figure out there's somebody near you, which that alone is just a ridiculous amount of information gathering passively. Her Q, when paired with her ulti, which is one of the best get out of jail free cards in the game, or one of the best trapping in the game. It's basically Kidnap 101. You can reposition your entire team out of a very bad position. You're stuck in a building, getting trapped, sandwiched by 3 teams. Portal, her Q's now instant. And you can dip out of there, reposition, and then come back and fight again. Or you can bait them in. Put your portal down in front of a bunch of traps if you want to. Put it in a random place and just make them come through it. There's a lot of things you can do as Wraith, and that's why she's S tier. That's why she's on almost every pro team. Because she's disgusting. And that's my tier list. And I'm sorry if you don't like it. And I'm sorry if this bothers you. But this is my opinion. This is how I see the tier list. This is how I see everybody. So, appreciate you if you watched, and have a nice day.
Baby, let's go get it cracking. She gon' fuck it up, she wanted all that Action Jackson. I don't wanna fuck with them cause I don't do no capping.